and welcome to Down the Rabbit Hole featuring Crypto Walkers. We just took a couple minutes extra to get started because the World Cup was going on. The U.S. just beat Iran and are advancing to the knockout round. Opinions,
go! That's awesome. Proud of our team. Glad we made it through the knockout rounds. Looks like England had a pretty strong performance against Wales. It's been fun predicting all of the matches, though I haven't been doing very well. Seems like Max has a good strategy, but he got busted. He does not have that advantage anymore.
Well, I do have a new strategy.
Lots of refreshes.
But this time I'm not gonna share it because I don't want it taken away.
Hey, listen, you gotta do what you gotta do. But yeah, that's been fun.
I analyze the best expected value plays. We'll put it at that.
Okay, maybe we'll have to DM about it. Cool. Well, happy to have Crypto Walkers on the spaces with us today. Looks like Michael's connecting as well.
Yes, welcome, guys. So, and I think we're expecting Alex later as well, the CEO of Non-Fungible Labs. But in the meantime, let's hear from the Shay Show and Michael McDonald. Introduce yourselves and tell us what you do over at Crypto Walkers.
Hey, thanks there. I also hear that there's quite a lot of Kiwis in the group. So kia ora, hello. I'm from New Zealand as well. But yes, I am the creative director of Crypto Walkers. We're now focused on our world called Walker World, which is very exciting. If you haven't seen the trailer already, definitely check it out on walkerworld.io. But yeah, I've been with the company a short time now, and we've already done a lot of groundbreaking work. Been with the company for 2 months now. And yeah, super proud of what the team's put together already. And we're doing some pretty exciting things moving forward. And yeah, very excited to launch our female collection next week on the 6th of December. A bit about me, background. Had a career kickoff at EA Mobile for about 7 years. I was there. Worked as lead artist for quite a few projects. Lots of well-known EA IP like Need for Speed, for example. From there, moved to Weta Workshop, who a lot of you probably know. Pretty household name in Aotearoa. Obviously they've worked on Lord of the Rings and Avatar, but they also have a interactive division making games. So I was there for a few years working with technology called Magic Leap, which is super exciting. Some of like the world's sort of bleeding edge AR smart glasses tech. And then since then, I've been working at some AAA studios, mainly in Sweden. Massive Entertainment's probably the biggest one I've worked at here, which is a Ubisoft studio. They're most well known for The Division, and worked on the Avatar game they're working on at the moment, which is pretty cool. But yeah, very excited to be with Crypto Walkers now. Massive creative opportunities for myself, and very excited to sort of push the Web3 space forward. Over to you, Shay.
Awesome. Thank you, Michael. And thanks for being a trooper. Yeah, sorry for chiming in a little bit late, but just for some comedy, I think Michael got locked out of our Crypto Walkers headquarters right before this spaces, so hence the short delay. But Murphy's Law, and we're here rolling with the punches, right?
Yeah, we have plenty of stuff like that at the Seeker's office. I hear people are always in Slack trying to make sure they don't get locked out. And
yeah,
security's good though.
It's a serious problem at in-person jobs. It's happened to me also.
Yeah, just for context, it's 10 p.m. here at the moment, so I'm actually taking this call out on the street. So if it gets noisy, that'll be why.
You are a real one, Michael. Everybody on the streets of Stockholm, tuning in live. No, but that's we were kind of handling all that in the background. But yeah, a little bit about me. I think many of you guys probably know me because I am a FLUF World OG, but I am CMO of Walker Labs, and I'm super excited for this to be happening and to be here. We recently had our trailer release, which we had incredible reception on, and you might have seen some of our fluffy furry friends in there. Shout out to NFT Sales and LV50, one of his royal fluffs was in the trailer. And yeah, I'm super excited for you guys to meet Michael, our creative director. We have our own McDonald's in town now, okay, guys? And he has an incredible AAA background, and we've got quite a few members on our team who have just worked at incredible places and have a breadth of experience. We're building a third-person multiplayer shooter game on Unreal Engine 5, which you might have seen in the trailer. We're super focused on interoperability. And we have an upcoming female walker mint on December 6th, which I'm sure I'll get the chance to talk a bit more about. But that's a little bit about Walker Labs and a bit about me. Thanks for hosting, Max and Sam. Super excited to get into the discussion.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. And we're excited to be talking to you. So thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. So do we want to talk a little bit about the female collection and what we can expect from it?
Absolutely. So our female walkers are minting December 6th. They're 3D, fully game rigged, similar to our male crypto walkers. We have some incredible partnerships and activations in the collection. Really close to home, Altered State Machine being one of them, which is also my PFP here. We've got superheroines in the collection that have some really cool utilities and perks attached to them, along with Seekers, ADEM Car Club, and Drug Receipts having a presence in the collection as well. And I mean, you guys have seen some of the leaks and things of these female walkers. We really upped the ante here, and the quality is incredible. The collaborations are incredible. FLUF Futureverse collections will be allow listed and will be eligible to mint. And of those collections, it will be FLUF World, just Fluffs in FLUF World, ADEM Car Club, Seekers, Drug Receipts, ASM Genesis Brains, ASM Gen 2 Brains, and superheroines from ASM. And we did release a Medium article with that information today, and our Discord hosts a FAQ as well with heaps of information about the mint, and some more information and stuff will be coming out in the coming days.
Yeah, I saw there was some potential rewards maybe for
awesome, Shay.
Like
it's been a really exciting week or two for us, getting such a good positive public reception from the trailer as well. Like I said, we're super proud. I'm personally super proud of our team. We've really pushed a lot in a very short period of time. Like Shay said, we've got a lot of interesting partnerships going at the moment. Some we've announced, like Altered State Machine, and we've also got early conversations of some big hitters as well in the US, which is exciting. And from the trailer, you can see a lot of utility from the characters as well. Obviously, our upcoming female mint is the focus, and we've also got an exciting trailer coming out next week for that also, which I can't wait to share, showing some more exciting social experiences that you can do in the game.
That's exciting. And number one, congrats on the trailer, or I don't know if congrats is the right word, but such a great job. I think a lot of people were impressed. And one thing that I think a lot of our community members might find intriguing was the presence of both fluffs and seekers in the trailer. Do you want to talk about the interoperability or potential interoperability between crypto walkers and different Futureverse characters?
Yeah, definitely. And this is one of the things we're most excited about is interoperability, which is something we've sort of worked through, realizing that it's one of the very few features that Web3 really enables over traditional gaming platforms. simply because you can't do it with, centralized technology. You do need, decentralized blockchain to be able to truly own your assets. But not only that, but also take them into other worlds that recognize that you are the true owner of those. So we've partnered with Non-Fungible Labs, which is super exciting. Obviously based in Auckland, which is where I was born. So it's definitely a small world. And yeah, they're super awesome to work with. FLUF's super fun and also perfect character for us to use as a use case, because they're they've got arms and legs, and we can skin them to the gameplay experiences that our female and male crypto walkers can do. So a lot of utility and crossover opportunities there.
That sounds really fun. And I also heard that there was some form of partnership with Altered State Machine. What's the thought process there?
I can speak a little bit about that, and then Michael, if you want to add on. So there's a few layers to the partnership. As you know, Altered State Machine is pioneering the technology called non-fungible intelligence. So we're really excited to explore alongside with them the use cases and how we can incorporate that into our game, which Michael's probably going to cringe when I say this, but I'll say it here, at least in this audience, but a Web3 game. And I think the possibilities are kind of really fun to look at and kind of endless in terms of what we can do with Genesis brains. And then our superheroines in the collection have some fun kind of utility and backstories, and you might have seen a cool looking weapon in some of the content that we've put out. And so that's also like a heroine blaster that we've created, where in game it will actually give you health versus harming you. And we've also started the Superheroine Squadron with Altered State Machine, which is a philanthropic initiative towards empowering and shining light and providing opportunities for women in Web3 and just really pushing inclusivity. So there's a few, it's definitely tech driven, and it's also, there's a philanthropy initiative there too. So there's a few different layers, but we're so thrilled and honored that they're a partner.
Awesome. I just want to let everybody in the audience know that at any point, if you have a question for the Shay Show or Michael or Alex, who will be joining us in sometime in the next 10 minutes or so, maybe, or after that, hopefully, please feel free to welcome to request to speak on the stage. For now, me and Somnium will try to ask some more questions. One question I have for Michael is, what can you tell us, especially for people that aren't familiar with Crypto Walkers? What is this game going to be like? Like, what are the goals of the game? What's the gameplay experience about?
Max, speak real quick.
Yeah, awesome. And this is probably the most exciting thing I'm excited to share is, just what the exact gameplay opportunities are. So right now we've mainly been focused on third-person shooter mechanics. So a lot of the trailer you'll see sort of head-to-head combat, which is something that's been desired by a lot of the audience out there. We've had a lot of positive feedback for that. But now we're also looking to incorporate more sort of explorative gameplay opportunities where you actually venture out and explore the vast open world environment of Walker World. And we're looking to marry those two together for a start. But ultimately we want it to be filled with as many experiences as possible to sort of create that sort of metaverse vision that everyone wants to be able to experience, like Ready Player One, for example, where you sort of go in and there's a social layer to it where you can interact with other players, go on an adventure together, jump into a gameplay mode either as a team or head to head, and have it very free flowing. And obviously, having ownership over not only characters, but land and weapons and everything in between. and just being able to have as much enjoyment out of those features as possible. It also allows us to be very versatile with partnership opportunities. So, there might be partners where, they aren't necessarily a character body that run around and can shoot, and therefore we want something else that we can inject into the world that is more suitable. So Seekers, for example, which is another Kiwi brand collection, we've partnered with them to have them interoperable as well. And so being Seekers, they're more about, roaming around and trying to find things for you. So we're going to incorporate that, for example, as part of the as part of the gameplay, so that you can own a Seeker and perhaps they go out and venture for you and sort of scout around for resources or hidden landmarks or whatever it might be. But we're definitely in the early stages of other game modes to explore. And we've partnered with, not partnered, but we've got some very experienced people on the team as well who are helping us design some of these mechanics, some of the, meta as well around, things like game progression and that, obviously gameplay. So, for example, we've got the guy that actually used to be the former chief operating officer for EA Dice, which is amazing. Johan, he's amazing to work with. He's on our advisory board, for example, and he's been shedding a lot of light into what we should focus on and giving us a lot of strategic planning ahead of time. And also another amazing guy, Henrik, who's an executive producer. He's working with us as a strategic advisor also, based here in Stockholm. And he's come from AAA Web 2 as well. Places like Rovio. He was creative director for Angry Birds 2, for example. So the team has a wealth of experience, and we're sort of working together to find the best gameplay modes possible, given the sort of space that we're in.
Awesome. I'm sure I and a lot of other people in the audience are excited to play when the time comes. We're having a little bit of a Twitter issue in that you, Michael, can't hear Somnium when he speaks. We've identified that issue, and it's a somewhat common issue in Twitter Spaces. And the solution that we're going to try is I'm going to push you down to the audience, and then you can re-request, and we'll see if that works. And in the meantime, we're going to introduce Alex. Alex, welcome. Can you introduce yourselves and what you do for Non-Fungible Labs, and then maybe the reason why you're on the space associated with Crypto Walkers?
Thanks for having me, Max. My name's Alex Smeele, co-founder and CEO of Non-Fungible Labs, and I'm here, I guess just to support our partners at Crypto Walkers. We've been working kind of semi-closely together since they launched, and got a lot of love for them, their community, their team, and really excited for their upcoming Female Walkers Mint.
Likewise, and thank you so much, Alex, for making the time. We're super stoked to have you here.
Of course.
All right, testing real quick. Michael, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Just had to rejoin by the looks. Awesome.
Yeah, it's such a weird bug. I think it's got something to do with co-hosts and speakers or something weird. I don't know. But I wanted to touch on the traits that you guys have. I've seen a lot of the leaks and things like that. I saw there might be an Atom-related tracksuit sort of thing that was really cool, that might have like a car involved with it, and a couple others. So just curious about those, and if you wanted to expand on that a bit.
Yeah, we have some fun content coming out tomorrow that is about our collaboration with Atom Car Club. And yeah, you have a good eye. There are some treasures and answers in alpha for those who find them and those who look. But yeah, we're super excited about our partnership with Atom, and they have an upcoming car collection. So I don't know, there might be a Crypto Walkers car in there, and I think some of our lucky minters of the awesome tracksuit might have something awesome in store.
Cool. Yeah, it's really been cool seeing all the different traits and leaks, and the ASM version ones of the superheroines. Those are very cool. The Kill Bill-esque one is very cool. So loving all the details in the collection.
Yeah, and the coolest superheroine is yet to be revealed. We will reveal that on Thursday live on the ASM Crypto Walkers Superheroine Squadron Spaces with Shara and Rahila. That one is I think really going to blow people away. But yeah.
Nice. Yeah, looking forward to that Spaces as well.
One question I wanted to ask, and I want to pose it to each of the three guests that we have, is about how Web3 based games can become such that gamers that don't like Web3, and that's a very common thing that we see a lot of gamers, and it's not just in the gaming industry, but in several different spaces, there's anti-NFT sentiment. How do you overcome that?
I think.
Sorry.
Personally, I think, as with everything about this space, it all comes down to the user experience. If you're trying to sell people on the idea of an NFT, then you're kind of fighting an uphill battle, and you're only ever going to get kind of buy-in from people that are inherently in that kind of, innovator, early adopter bracket. Whereas if you can basically present an incredible seamless user experience that shows all of the positive benefits of Web3, such as true ownership of your assets, without them even having to know what an NFT is or understand how the blockchain works, then that's where you'll start to see people transition over. It is interesting, I find, at the moment, there is so much resistance in the gaming community around Web3 or, NFT integrated into gaming, traditional gaming. I think a lot of that comes from the fear around the kind of initial volatility of the space, especially over the last sort of 2 years. But as the space matures and it becomes less volatile, I think you'll actually see a lot of projects start to incorporate the technology because it just opens up those additional pathways for other people. And I guess for me, I think long term it'll be a kind of either evolve or die mindset, where as bigger games start incorporating that tech and that interoperability framework into the way that they launch their games, those that don't will kind of get left behind, because people are choosing to actually vote with their time or their money in terms of how they want that rollout to happen. And they'll see that actually those that are providing them true ownership of their assets are, in most cases, providing a much better user experience.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, to that point, like you said, Alex, it's like right now there's a lot of sort of focus on technology and buzzwords rather than the experience itself. I think, recently Reddit is a great example of how to sell an NFT without saying that you're selling an NFT, and focusing on the experience and the utility of what you're providing. I believe they said digital collectibles, perhaps, correct me if I'm wrong. But these are the terms that we're sort of going to pivot towards using. And I'm sure that, you'll hear terms like, DeFi gaming and like, blockchain and Web3 and all these eventually phase out and just become a sort of back-end infrastructure, no different than, cloud computing, for example, or edge computing. Because the fundamental sort of selling point isn't that it's an NFT, it's that it's a interoperable asset that you have commercial rights to, for example, and what that means for the owner. And so that's what we're going to be voicing, and I think that's the key to getting the broader, wider demographic audience on the bus, is just sort of showcasing what's possible with this new technology.
Yeah, absolutely. Just want to quickly echo on what both Alex and Michael said. I think we're being super thoughtful and nuanced with the language that we're putting out there, and I think we're extremely well positioned because it's that ultimate marriage in unison of our super AAA heavy team who come from studios like EA, Ubisoft, Rovio, Weta Workshop, and then the part of our team that is Web3 native, and really putting our heads together and coming from these entirely different perspectives and worlds, and being open to iterating kind of as we go, I think is putting us in, is going to put us in a really good place in terms of just lowering the barrier to entry and attracting Web2 gamers and just Web2 audience in general.
Yeah, and to that point of like barrier to entry, I think it's important to keep in mind like maybe some sort of free to play modes and things that allow people to experience the game without necessarily buying the NFTs or digital collectibles, however you want to pitch it, and then just like iterating and finding what works and what doesn't. I think that's an important piece of the puzzle for mass adoption.
Yeah, definitely. And to also, like you said, Alex, as well earlier, sort of address the negative association with a lot of this technology. And I think that comes down to, examples out there that have sort of exploited players. A lot of them have been cash grabs and people over-promising, under-delivering. So there's a lot of negativity and skepticism around the space that we've got to sort of address, and sort of, I guess, really like lead the charge on just providing examples and delivering on expectations.
I think where a lot of the industry has gone wrong to date as well is that it's put too much of the expectation on the financial component. So when you look at like play to earn, everyone was jumping in because their incentive was to earn. When you actually get to like mass scale, mass adoption, the amount of people that are actually earning from kind of, these big open engaging world environments is probably only going to be a small percentage of those that are actually playing, because the game that, the earning isn't the end goal, and it's to be in a position where you are contributing at a level that you're able to monetize it. That's not something that can apply to everyone, because it's just simple laws of supply and demand in economics. So as long as you're building games that are inherently fun and enjoyable without even that monetary component, that's where you're actually going to start converting people. There's a psychological study a few years back, I can't remember exactly who conducted it, but basically they had a number of young children who were learning piano, and they split the group into two. Half of them would be paid $10 each time they did a piano lesson. The other time were just doing it for free. And the group that were being paid, when they all of a sudden just abruptly stopped paying them, and I think it was about 90% stopped doing the piano lessons, because that kind of immediate incentive was taken away. And that's sort of echoed in what's happened with the Web3 NFT gaming spaces. If your expectation is just on that monetary component, even if there's so much else at play there, then by that not being realized anymore, it actually kills that incentive for you to continue engaging, even if the game is fun. So it's about how that earning component is packaged and presented in a way that it's not expected as the status quo, but it's something that those who go above and beyond can achieve, while everyone else is kind of more in the casual gamer side. And there is this kind of hierarchy of immersion that exists in sort of game theory, where, you know, as people play more and they start to kind of create more within the environment, they move into content creators, that the level of immersion and the level of what's the word I'm looking for? I've got it actually in one of my white papers here. But, you know, the more recognition actually that they get from the wider community for being content creators, the more engaged they become and the more time they spend within that space. So I think within all of these, it's important to build those mechanics to allow people to kind of move up the hierarchy from, you know, casual gamers to collectors to content creators to tool makers, but also ensure that at each one of those levels, the experience is, you know, fun and engaging, more than just trying to chase some money.
Awesome. Let's hear from two of our community members that have joined the stage. First, Mo Meta Music, and then Bildo Verde.
Hey guys, thanks for having me up. I've got a question, but before I ask it, I just want to touch on, I don't want to say play to earn. I definitely think it's more play and earn. It's how we need to think about it. For me, seeing that adoption coming through with the Web 2 gamers, if they're playing the same game as their Web 3 friend, and their friend is getting to keep these verifiable assets, and they're playing the same game and they're not, I think over time they're going to look to their friend who can keep their stuff and say, you know what, maybe I will set up a wallet. Maybe I will keep my stuff. So if we can have the Web 2 people playing with Web 3 people in the same game, I think that will encourage that experience for them to actually utilize what's available to them. Now, for my question, it's one that I'm not purely comfortable with because I don't understand the tech. I'm curious to know, was Crypto Walkers always being built with the back end in mind to access the full suite of utility that the Futureverse has to offer? Like, were they always going to be able to wear that kill team onesie from drug receipts or hold that ASM gun? And how hard it will be for other people to come in and also utilize this suite?
Yes, it's a great question, actually. And it's one that I was really impressed. And another reason why I joined the studio in the first place was, so Daniel, one of our co-founders, was sort of leading the charge with the original characters that we minted. Very ahead of the time, very sharp thinker, but ultimately, yes, they were designed to be in a game world, fully interoperable and fully what's the right word? Game playable, I guess, because so for context, it was I believe it is the first animated full body rigged NFT collection that was released, and so therefore it's like quite ahead in terms of so it's definitely been like the long-term strategy for the business.
Absolutely. And proud CMO moment, Michael, you are right. I'm almost 99% sure that we were the first. And I think the team just saw like this massive opportunity in the sea of JPEGs, honestly, to do something really kind of groundbreaking and set like a new standard of excellence in the space. And also just like they've kept the entire tech stack in mind from the beginning. We have been working with Jadu since December, who is one of our partners and also a partner of FLUF World. So very loved mutual friend, to integrate all of our walkers to be augmented reality compatible into their METAVERSE, which is their augmented reality application, which is a huge undertaking and feat on its own. I'm sure Alex knows going through the process with FLUF. So I think it's been kept in mind from the beginning, and it has also continued to kind of evolve as we become privy to new opportunities and to new technologies and to, you know, the possibilities of what the root network can do. So we're also staying kind of open-minded too.
Yeah, and there's definitely going to be the same case for all the female walkers that we're about to mint. You know, they come with all their traits as well. A lot of the weapons and things are crossover between both genders, but they also, will have, full interoperability with all the other partners we've done things for. So, same with METAVERSE, we'll have female walkers working with, AR crossover partnerships, not just Walker World, which is super exciting to see. It was crazy actually. We had like the pitch deck that Daniel showed me when he was like onboarding me during the interview had an embedded AR app in the slide that you could like walk around and play as a crypto walker in the room. It was pretty wild. But yeah, so lots of emerging technology that we're gonna have use cases for, and also within Walker World we're gonna offer lots of opportunities for utility for not just our walkers but our partners as well, such as FLUFs.
Yeah, I believe Alex and Daniel had a conversation really early on too, and kind of the origin story of crypto walkers. So I don't know, fun little fact, and thanks Alex from supporting since the beginning.
Of course, I mean, as I've always said in this space, I mean, especially now, I don't really have much time to kind of watch other projects, but anytime I see someone who's doing something to actually push the space forward and do something new and raise the bar and what people expect from NFTs, I get behind it 110%. And as you say, you guys were one of, if not the first, to do, full 3D animated characters. And I mean, from the start, when I saw the project first being teased, I was like, wow, this is actually really cool. And it was actually surprisingly similar to another idea that, Jesse and I had been playing with. But seeing how you guys have executed on it has been incredible. And a lot of respect for all the work that you've done to date, and excited to see where it all leads.
Yeah, thanks, Alex. And likewise with Daniel and the team, seeing what you and Jesse and that put together for the FLUFs, because I believe Daniel and Philip and Christian and the team were already working on the Crypto Walkers Mint back when, your core team released the first FLUFs. And so they were like, oh, wow, there's other people doing this too. So that was inspiring to see at the time too, being seeing other people getting on it early.
Well, thank you for that answer. Those are all excellent answers, guys. I appreciate that. Now, for the second part of my question, just before I jump down, as we all love adoption, is this now the new industry standard? Like, is this the new tech stack that people have to aspire to be able to be interoperable with the Futureverse? And how should people wanting to become of this be thinking about building in the future to be able to use this utility of Suite?
It's probably one for Alex, right? That's a good question.
I mean, I think at the end of the day, anything is possible regardless, of how things have been built to date, with the way that technology is constantly evolving in this industry. That's why, I mean, when we look at like Root Network, for example, the way that it runs as both a layer 1 and a layer 2 with bridges to Ethereum and, various Ethereum layer 2s and XRPL, Polkadot, etc., means that, even if your collection is on one of these other chains, then it can be ported across to run on the Root network. And when it comes to actually, asset interoperability, I mean, it's all about, when it comes to building out these game environments, ensuring that the technical standards that are defined for those environments are met with the characters. I mean, it's something that we're seeing where we're having to obviously produce different versions for different experiences at the moment. But as we move into, I guess, more of a unified interoperability framework for the metaverse, then that should be much more limited and allow for easier interoperability of assets. Now, when we talk about like the Third Kingdom, for example, with what we're building, we're not necessarily just trying to kind of be everything to everyone. I think what's important about the metaverse is not that it's just throw everything together and hope it all works out, but it's allowing for these spaces that play like traditional kind of finite games that are highly curated, but then also providing a much bigger open world social framework that ties all of them together. So that's where, you can still have, certain siloed games that run on their own tech standards, but have kind of APIs or tools in place that allow you to kind of transcend between these different game experiences in a not interoperable way. And I think a lot of the time that's going to come down to the actual game builder itself. They can choose to build on Ethereum or Root Network or whatever else. But, once again, like if you're like, take Atom, for example, like it might not make sense in most cases that, you can use a Dr. G ray gun in an Atom race, but then there might be certain situations where you can. And I think that's where, as we start to build out the framework and the foundations and allow for other kind of third parties to build these game experiences that integrate seamlessly with all of the suite of tools and assets that we're producing, there's going to have to be basically a kind of vetting process run by whether it's the game creator or the community around that's empowered through a DAO to say, okay, these are the assets that can exist within this game environment, and these are the functions or utility that they have. And hopefully most of the time that's pretty straightforward and it follows the standards. But in certain situations you might say, well, actually no, it doesn't make sense for this thing to happen in this specific experience because it kind of breaks that immersion. So it is going to be an interesting one to develop, because I think a lot of people just think, let's throw everything into the one space and hope for the best. But personally, I think it's quite a cool framework to allow the actual creators to kind of empower and choose how much they want to bring all of this interoperability in, because a lot of the time I think it's going to be very interoperable, but purely on a cosmetic level. Just because you have a ray gun doesn't mean that you can go and kind of melt 20 people at once. But you can maybe have it in there as a cosmetic level, or maybe it's nerfed down to just work on par with other kind of weapons within that environment. That's just one example. But building out that framework that sets the tools in place so that anyone can jump on or kind of port their collections over and knows how to build their assets out to the right standards, that they'll just work seamlessly, is important. And then you have that kind of social governance level that sits after that.
Awesome. Let's hear from our next community member, Bildo.
Hey, thanks for having me this afternoon. And as always, thank you, Sam and Max, for hosting these. Always such great information. I'm super excited to have Crypto Walkers on, as I'm a big fan. And just wanted to ask, Michael kind of touched on it a little bit. I think Alex might have been alluding to it in some of his last statements, but I know he had mentioned having seekers in Walker World, potentially doing some tasks. It seems like some Genesis 1 or Gen 2 brains may be incorporated in Walker World as well, but I'm kind of curious about the interoperability between like FLUFs and Crypto Walkers. Like, would there be specific tasks that would be beneficial to have a FLUF in Walker World, and vice versa? Would, while you're running around the Third Kingdom with your FLUF, would it be beneficial to have some walkers with you to potentially fight off some pesky goblins, seeing that they're well equipped with a lot of weapons?
I mean, as I said before, I guess it comes down to the creators. So I can only speak for the kind of Third Kingdom side of things, but 100% the way that we're building it out is, to empower people to bring more characters, more collections into the space to drive that immersion, and, allowing different kind of characters, different collections to have different utility within those environments. So yeah, 100% from our side.
Yeah, likewise. We, are striving to be the Web3 game for interoperability and be that destination where all Web2 and Web3 brands are invited and their avatars are invited. And I think our trailer did a really good job of kind of just introducing that concept. So yeah, we love the FLUFs.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you guys so much. I won't take up too much time. I know there's a few other people waiting to ask some questions.
Yeah, cool. Sorry, just also feel free to reach out to anyone in the community if your questions don't get fully answered as well.
Sounds great. I think we've got Tybo, and then we'll go to Dan.
Hello. Can you guys
Are you feeling better, Tybo?
It's like I'm on a wave. Sometimes I'm up, sometimes I'm down, but it's not as bad. But yeah, I've just got a bit of a cough today. Anyway, enough about me. I wanted to ask if any of you can answer this. I don't know if you guys are rich in the Unreal Engine 5, but there was a recent update with 5.1, and it was really fascinating to me to see the level of detail that's being brought into these games and these gaming worlds. What do you guys think about bringing the Unreal Engine 5 into the gaming environments? Because it's a very we haven't seen many games utilize this tech because it's a recent development. How do you guys take advantage of Unreal Engine 5, and has it I guess just give us some, if you can, give us some insight on the benefits of Unreal Engine 5 and how that can affect the interoperability and just in general, how are you guys taking advantage of Unreal Engine 5? If you can answer that question.
Yeah, no, this is a perfect one for me. I'm actually getting really excited elaborating on it too. But yeah, just for context, so the trailer that we launched last week, apart from showcasing about 2 seconds of our female walkers, the entire thing's all like real time running on Unreal Engine 5 on like a standard gaming PC of today. So everything that you're seeing is running real time in Unreal 5. It's ironic because just after we cut the trailer, Epic released 5.1, and I was like, oh damn it, because one of the big features of 5.1 per se is it has like real-time ray tracing with things like vegetation and trees, and you get like nice GI for those technically minded, GI bounce light getting cast through the leaves of the foliage and scattering around, so you get that nice translucent green color.
Yeah, I was watching it. It's amazing to see like what the development. So you guys didn't get to experience 5.1 because it just released. That's funny.
Yeah, for the trailer at least. We've actually got a new trailer coming out soon, and we have updated the entire project to 5.1 this week, which is awesome. Yeah, Epic did a great job in making that as pain-free as possible. I've had much worse experiences like upgrading from Unreal 4.25 to 4.26, for example, and this was pretty cruisy. But yeah, it definitely opens a lot of opportunities creatively as well. So one of my main roles that I've had throughout my career has been around lighting, which is quite a specialized skill in the sense that it like adds a dramatic effect to the overall look of a game. With real-time lighting with Unreal 5, you can do what used to take 4 hours. You can do that in 4 seconds in terms of placing lights, seeing how it looks, adjusting values and things to get like a different mood. In the trailer, you also see a time-lapse of time of day with the sun setting across the environment, which is going to be part of our land ownership sale later in the future. But things like that, where it's like all the the lighting's changing over time and it's like beautifully scattering around the environment, is all stuff that you couldn't do before with earlier engines. So yeah, very exciting, and I can't wait to show more of what we're doing for this next trailer with the females.
Awesome. What about you, Alex? Do you have anything to say about Unreal Engine 5?
Only that it's pretty fucking insane, like the level of quality that's being produced from it. Yeah, it's interesting. We've been building in both Unreal and Unity for a couple different reasons, and it's posed a really interesting kind of debate within the team of how, which one we go for and why. But for us, I think the end goal is more to, when we talk about interoperability, it's to, not just be interoperable of assets or blockchains, but also engines as well, is something that we're very kind of curious about and exploring, is how do we actually allow for, assets and experiences that are either happening in Unreal Engine or Unity to kind of bridge between each other. So, I mean, yeah, as just a gamer for God knows how long now, to see what Unreal Engine 5 are doing and to see the demos that are coming out and just where the power of kind of gaming engines in general is getting to now is phenomenal. And it feels like, we're going to get to a point soon where it's like, well, how much further can you actually take it? Like, how much more realistic can it get? At a certain point, there's surely going to be diminishing returns. It's like the resolution of a TV. It's like at a certain point, well, what's the point in going past 4K if you don't actually see any difference? And that's where, what's really exciting about this for me is obviously getting to this incredible point of hyperrealism, but then also moving to a point where the processing is so optimized that it can run on smaller and smaller devices, or you're kind of running it through like pixel streaming or cloud hosted services. As much as it pains me to say it, I kind of feel like we're at the last generation of gaming consoles, and this is coming from someone who's grown up with kind of all of the gaming consoles, but when you look at like PlayStations and Xboxes, etc., like when they come out, they're cutting edge, but then within a year, a lot of the tech's already accelerated past it. So that traditional model of like building these specialized gaming consoles, I don't necessarily see as the future. I think a lot of it will shift towards like mobile gaming, but with heavy cloud infrastructure that allows you to kind of have these really high quality immersive games that you can literally just like connect your phone to your TV, and it does essentially the same thing as your PS5 does these days.
Yeah, I agree that cloud gaming is going to be massive, especially as we become more interconnected. Just I guess a slight caveat: when you are working in Unity and Unreal Engine 5, when it comes to the word on interoperability, what is more user-friendly in that sense, or is it completely unrelated?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
So, like, when it comes to making interoperability possible, what is more user-friendly, Unity or Unreal Engine 5, or does it not make a difference?
I guess it depends. I mean, it's always based on what other people are building in as well. Unity has a much bigger indie games community, and I mean, Unity kind of has like better support for like in-browser gameplay, although I have seen some really interesting tech around streaming Unreal Engine 5 into a browser. But I think it depends on how everyone else is building. But that's where for us, it's about, if we look at our asset pipeline and how we're refining it over time, it's, every stage of the asset pipeline should function regardless of whether the end product is being exported to Unreal Engine or Unity. So that's where, we're working to really kind of nail at that. And there's been some interesting develops in the space. Pixar's .usd format is kind of starting to come out as, I guess, a new industry standard for really kind of packaging 3D files in a kind of seamless interoperable format, because there's so many hurdles that you come into when you're trying to move files from one engine to another or one 3D tool to another. So yeah, I mean, that's where we want to be as agnostic as possible and have everything kind of built out in a way that we can export assets to whatever environment is needed and scale them to fit the specific standards of that environment.
Yeah, like Bone Labs, for example, you can put your FLUF asset into it, and based off the size of the FLUF, it will determine how high it can jump. Like, it has this like bone meshing built into the engine, and I think it's a really cool step in simplifying the interoperability, where they've figured out all the physics and the bone meshing for your character based off its size. And you just plug and play. Like, essentially, that's what Bone Labs is. So it'll be exciting to see if that tech could be interoperable with other game studios, and we can start seeing it easier to be interoperable. But I know we're still very early in that sense when it comes to making it so streamlined. And I did look into the Pixar thing. I think what they're doing is awesome, especially because it is Pixar. I think they're going to do a phenomenal job. That's all I had to really get into for the more gaming side of things. But thank you guys. I appreciate answering my questions.
Thanks, Ty. But we have two more community members waiting to ask a question. Do any of the speakers have to get off now because it's a minute left in the hour or soon?
Yeah, I've actually got to jump.
Okay. I'm happy to stay on longer. Go over.
Alex, before you jump off, I wanted to ask you what your favorite part of our trailer was.
I mean,
you can't say
yeah. Oh, okay. You can't just. I had my favorite part, and you just stole it. I mean, honestly, I love how the female walkers with the ASM integrated brains look. But I think just in general, the overall level of detail and quality that you've built into the environments in the world, not one specific part, but just across the board, to see that level of quality that you've built things to is really impressive.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Any parting words, Alex?
Cheers, guys. Bunny's up. Later.
Bunny's up.
Thank you,
everyone. Thanks for coming.
And whose turn is it now?
I think Dan.
DWNFT.
Yeah, hey guys, cheers for having me on. My question is just to do with the partnership with Netric that you guys first partnered up with. I'm just wondering how that's going, especially with that situation that happened with the CEO, which has probably set them back quite a bit, because you guys were going to pretty much build with them, and we were going to be able to play on their land. And with the characters that we had, I think there was some utility to them. The ones that had the Netric pants and stuff, they were going to sort of earn either tokens or something like that. And just wondering if, because I understand you guys can just go your own way and do your own thing, which you guys are doing. So if there was a break, sort of a partnership there, then what will happen to these characters that hold, that wear sort of the Netric clothing? If that all makes sense.
Yeah, no, that completely makes sense. I am not across and managing that partnership myself, so I don't want to speak to anything incorrectly. It's a good question, and if you want to maybe DM me, I can do some digging with my team, but I'd rather not say anything just because I don't want to give inaccurate information. So
yeah, I can expand without giving misaccurate information, but I think it's a good example of partnering with someone, and you mint content, and you buy that and you own it and it's yours, and then something may happen to that outfit or company or partnership. At the end of the day, you still own what you've acquired. It doesn't die with whatever happens, and so we will be incorporating that stuff as best as we can, and I'm sure we can find ways around that, so that people that bought this content can still enjoy it in our world at least.
Okay, cheers, guys. And then probably like another sort of maybe in-depth question here is to do with your tokenomics, because I believe you guys did some private sales and stuff like that. So just wondering, what you guys sort of have in place, so when your game sort of comes out, that these seed investors don't go on, dumping these tokens. So there's value in the game when you play it.
Yeah. By the way, we are still working with Network, and we do still plan to do things with them. So anyone who has those walkers, it should be relieved. And they have an upcoming game coming up, and we'll be in there. We'll have a Walker City, or maybe it's called something else, but some sort of activation there. And unless Michael has anything to add on tokenomics, probably not the right person to speak to that. Our incredible Morton, our head of strategic development, the audience night, is kind of leading that charge. And we're working with a program through Outlier Ventures called Ascent, which is sort of like an accelerator program for your token on some of that stuff. And all of that stuff is having we're giving a lot of deep thought to that. And then Michael and team on the game side are giving a lot of thought to how that will be incorporated into the game and stuff, of course. But I think closer to our token launch and things like that, we'll definitely do our own AMA where some of those questions can be answered.
Yeah, I'd like to expand on this too, because it's important for me, especially as not just a developer, but as a gamer who has experienced feelings of being, I guess, exploited in a game where you're made to feel like you need to pay to win, or you have to grind to get the benefits of the game. Neither of those mechanics we're going to integrate into the game. We are going to have a tokenomic system, but it's not by any means going to be the main driver to play the game. So we're not going to be like a play to win, play to earn model, because we do want to attract a wider audience and bring the largest community possible into our experience. So we're working again with this amazing guy Henrik, who's also worked with mobile gaming like myself, where we were very early adopters of free-to-play gaming. And so we're very aware about how that can have negative effects on players and what their motivations are to play. And so we're not going to exploit players to have to grind or pay thousands of dollars to be able to get ahead of the game, just because that isn't that's going to sort of hinder us more than benefit us, and we're not going to grow the community or the Web3 space in doing so. So right now we're working towards a fair gaming model that incentivizes you to buy content, but not to the point that it will give you an edge above someone who can't afford it, for example. So everyone should be able to have a good time regardless of the monetization model that we use, long story short.
Okay, cheers guys, appreciate the answers. Thanks.
Awesome. Is that everybody that wanted to ask a question? I think so. I guess, is there anything that you guys wanted to get across that you haven't gotten across yet?
I will just speak a little bit to squads, which we had some stuff go out about today on our Twitter. And the squads program, which is after female mint, we're really going to be looking towards the Walker World land sale. And with squads, if you own a trinity essentially of assets, so 3 crypto walkers, 3 crypto walkers weapons, and 3 female walkers, you will get a free plot of land in Walker World, and also a specially designed hover car vehicle that will let you fly across Walker Worlds, and it will be exclusive to squad holders. So there's some more information on our Twitter about that, and I think Som pinned it as well. So that's some kind of alpha and new information. And we're really excited. Michael can speak a little bit more to Walker World. I know that he's built cool houses and things. But Walker World is going to be expansive and super exploratory and open world. And we might reserve some land for FLUF World. Who knows? And we're super looking forward to that, and super excited for our female mint, and honored and grateful that Futureverse is part of it the way that it is. And we're really excited for December 6th and just hope to see you all there.
Thanks. And Somnium, are you going to ask the usual question that you ask every week, or what, before we go?
No, I want to ask a little better question. I'm kind of curious what kind of gameplay experience you're kind of aiming for with Cryptwalkers, and kind of like what maybe games inspired Cryptwalker and Walker World, if any, and yeah, just kind of like what that experience might look like at a high level.
Michael, when you answer this, if you remember off the top of your head how large Walker World is going to be, can you tell us that as well?
Well, to Shay's point, that's undetermined, but we're definitely within the hundreds of kilometers wide at this point, and counting. We've got some exciting, like, different biomes within Walker World in development right now. Most of what you saw in the gameplay trailer was the desert biome. Right now we've got a grasslands biome in the pipeline, and a couple more up and coming as well. So eventually it'll sort of get to this sort of like wider procedural world, similar to, say, something like Minecraft, where it's sort of, many different biomes, very expensive, and you get to explore and find new and exciting things. It won't be randomized like Minecraft, for example, but it will have a very vast sort of open world experience where you can visit other people's land and islands, and like go off exploring together as parties, find exciting landmarks that might have some great importance within the gameplay model. So yeah, all very exciting there. In terms of games that are inspiring what we're doing, it's an interesting space, and it's one that is a big reason why I joined this space. Is it offers a lot more opportunities to create something new and exciting. Just for context, a lot of the AAA studios I've worked at, because you're dealing with such big budgets that are driven by publishers and people with deep pockets, they're usually sort of calling the shots in terms of what games you make, because everything needs to be business case proven and don't break it if it works, kind of thing. So iteration and like new experiences within large big titles, like these massive open world games that you typically see, don't have a lot of new and exciting things because they're using tried and true gameplay models. What we're exploring is sort of taking notes from the community and merging a lot of like interesting gameplay mechanics together, because ultimately we want to have quite a lot of variety within our world to cater for not only the community but also our partners, like I was mentioning before with Seekers and Atom as well. For an example, like we want to have transportation modes of gameplay, also good use for our hobby cars, and a perfect use case to travel the world quickly. And when you got hundreds of kilometers to explore, sometimes you just want to get from A to B a bit faster than walking. And yeah, it opens the floodgates to other game modes, like racing. Obviously, we'll definitely be doing a bit of that. But so we're taking sort of like cherry picking like great ideas from various games that we love. So The Sims, for example, we're having quite a social element to the game. So The Sims is a great example of characters socializing in a space and being able to build your own house and like having like a sense of like a hub that you own. Gameplay wise, obviously, we've got third person shooting in there. So, having worked with Henrik on this project, we've got a lot of great advice in insight into what it takes to make a great shooting game. So that's sort of like one of the best examples we've got going at the moment for competitive play. And sort of everywhere in between. Some other games that like we're getting inspired by at the moment for open world exploration is, I guess, and also use case of ownership. One I love to bring up is actually a board game called Settlers of Catan, where you're, expanding your territory and claiming land and trading resources to be able to like merge cool items together to get something new and exciting. That's something we're sort of exploring at the moment. But yeah, I guess it's quite a vast array of things, and it kind of sounds like a wide spectrum. But a lot of game mechanics are sort of very cross-compatible between genres as well. So we're sort of at the very early stages of exploring what else we can do and how far we can push things.
I saw some leaks today that Michael shared internally of houses in Walker World. I'll just say they look really cool, like MTV Cribs cool. So
yeah, I loved in the trailer how kind of destructible things were, and kind of what do they call that? What kind of environment is that when they're like destructible? I forget if there's like a name for it.
I think it's just destructible.
Yeah.
We're really original here.
Yeah, no, I'm a major gamer myself, so I'm very excited to eventually play the game and hop in Walker World. So love what you guys are building. Well, I guess I will ask my question that is my typical question, which is what are you excited for? The fan favorite. What are you most excited about that you can talk about?
I was waiting for something really specific, and it's like, oh, that's a broad question. I guess for me personally, it's proving out the interoperability side of the space that we're in. So, right now it's very early days amongst the Web3, development community, but we're definitely pushing hard on interoperability and sort of showing that we're doing it all in real time. Like everything that you see in the trailer is all in-game footage, no smoke and mirrors, no sort of concept ideas. It's all proven to work. We've got a lot of ground to cover still, but like we're making it work technically at least. And like Alex was saying, things do look visually stunning thanks to Unreal, but also our talented team here. So that's definitely what I'm most excited about, is the interoperability of people's assets that they own, like crypto walkers and our different partners, and the female mint, I should have said, is the most exciting thing. Go check it out. No.
Just 100% just want to echo that in terms of looking towards the future. Just really excited to kind of pioneer all of this and like work alongside incredible partners like Altered State Machine and Seekers, and kind of incorporate decentralized communications into our game and non-fungible intelligence, and find and establish like super cool use cases for these like bleeding edge technologies. Like we're all doing it together, and we're at the precipice of something great, and we're all early, as trite as it is. And I think it's a really special time for us right now. That the trailer just came out, and it kind of, I think it launched us out of stealth mode in a lot of ways, and there's a lot of eyes on us, and we're super grateful. And it's the perfect kind of energy going into this female mint, and which is also, by the way, on the 1-year anniversary of our Genesis collection, which is super poetic and awesome. I love that. And then, after that, we'll just be looking to kind of plan and continue to plan the year ahead, and just establishing ourselves as a leader in the space. But of course, most importantly and most foremost right now, super excited for the female mint coming up December 6th. So go check out the details on our Twitter, on our Discord. Maybe you'll be one of the lucky ones that mints a Futureverse walker, and gets some of the special extra NFTs and prizes that we have in store. And if you can make it to Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern, I will be hosting the amazing, wonderful Shara Senderoff and Rahila, who are both very, very involved in Futureverse and across the ecosystem, and we'll be revealing a walker. So yeah, hope to see you guys all there.
There's one question that was asked on Twitter that I wanted to pose to you guys, and then we'll wrap up and let you guys go. AAA games or games that have big experiences with lots of things to do, such as the game you're describing, they take years to make, or traditionally have taken years to make. Is your community, on board with how aware are they of that? Like the timeline, how long we are expecting it to take, the different steps along the way. And do you want to kind of elaborate so that anyone that's listening today or that listens to the replay has a more realistic expectations of what the process is going to be like?
Yeah, I'm happy to answer that. And I think it's important too not to, raise people's expectations, astronomically high, because that's not what we want either. We want to, be genuine in what we're delivering. So like you say, AAA games or like these massive blockbuster games like Grand Theft Auto or Fortnite, that takes hundreds of people years to make. So we definitely won't be launching, end of next year with our first playable experience amongst like a closed alpha community, that level of game. But it's definitely something that we're going to aim towards. We just won't release the entire thing all at once. And so with the unique space that we're in, it is very much a community driven project in the sense that we're injecting every dime that you're spending on these walkers back into the experience, back into the development of the game. So the more we sort of grow and expand from that, the more we put in, the more you get out. So it should snowball. And there's some great sort of use cases out there that have been done already like this, which one shining example was a Kickstarter called Star Citizen. So Kickstarter actually is a very similar model to Web3 in the sense of raising money to make a game. It's community driven. Owners of NFTs, you can relate to a Kickstarter where you're giving a donation to receive a benefit once they make the product or the game or whatever it is. But Star Citizen anyway is like an extreme case of them just like raising money, making game, raising more money, making the game bigger, so on and so forth. And they've been doing that a crazy amount of time, over a decade, for example. We probably won't take that long before we release a game to the community. We're definitely not doing that. But it is an example of, a developer like ourselves ramping up to get to that massive AAA experience. So Star Citizen, for example, they're worth $500 million over the 10 years that they've grown, and they're obviously making the game bigger and better every year. It's like a crazy project, which I'm excited to play. But that's the goal, is to slowly and steadily build up to that grand experience.
Yeah, I think it's important that people learn that it's like an iterative process. Like things will get released that is going to be the initial experience and like a game mode that people are going to enjoy and still going to be fun, but it's you're constantly iterating on the product and making it better and making it more immersive. So I think it's cool to keep that in mind, and love to see how everything pans out over the years for us all.
Yep, and no smoke and mirrors along the way is our huge thing, and Michael's huge thing. Our trailer was all real-time gameplay footage, so we're going to strive to continue to be transparent along the way.
Awesome. So let's have you give closing words, and then we have Believe-In to talk to us about his fan fiction project, Vitesia. So final words, Michael, and then Shay, before you go.
I'm just really happy to for you guys to have me and girls to have me tonight. Well, it's morning for a lot of you, but yeah, no, it's awesome to be able to engage with the community like this. It's something I haven't had the opportunity to do in my past career, and yeah, I really love the space working amongst Web3 and like the community. Yeah, it's very exciting to see such a positive reaction to the trailer as well. So yeah, thank you everyone.
Sure, bro.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, I mean, I've said a bunch of last words already, but I just want to give a huge shout out to Michael and his creative direction and vision and driving this incredible trailer. And this is his second Twitter Spaces today ever, and I'm like super stoked with kind of just the community reception and super proud of him, and just really grateful for his AAA background and experience, and can't wait to keep immersing him into the community. So this is not the last you will see of our Kiwis and our team. We'll be back for more soon, and thanks Max and Sam for hosting.
Thanks guys for coming. Appreciate it. You guys did great. Okay, Believe-ins, talk to me. Talk to us. What's going on? How are you?
Hey there, how you doing? Sorry, dinner arrived just in this second. Perfect timing.
What are we eating?
Some pizza and some salad. A healthy balance. So
I hear pizza is just a salad, where the croutons is just a little bit bigger.
yeah, I like that definition. I before we get to Vitesia, I also want to give a big shout out to Shay and the Crypto Walkers team. Like, I've been there from initial mint, got everything just like with FLUF World, and yeah, just wanted to give a big shout out to the team and what they're doing. I think it's a great job.
Yeah, there's so many projects that minted, in that same span, like over a year ago, and a vast majority of them are going kind of the opposite direction, like starting to see that they're running out of ideas or not really able to accomplish much. So it's very refreshing to see teams that are pushing forward in a positive direction.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I think we're here, this community and in the whole ecosystem. I'm glad to be here, and that's also, why I'm glad to spend more time here and even create some fan fiction here. So yeah, how do we want to do this? Should I give a short introduction on what's happening, and then anyone who has a question can come up.
Yeah, let's do that.
Cool. So yeah, as probably several of you know me, I was here with FLUF from Mint and minted everything, and was lucky enough to also get some rare ones like my silver FLUF. And yeah, I think it's been a long journey, and a few months back I got into the whole AI thing of creating stories, creating lore, creating images with Midjourney, and I created this fictional character called Vitesia. And Vitesia, the historian, is a goblin. A historian goblin. And initially, I created all of the content with AI. So like GPT-3 for text generation and Midjourney for image generation. And I didn't have like a huge roadmap, or I didn't have anything planned for it as a drop. And then there came a time where I was like, okay, now I have this character. I have people, I have a small Discord community, and what should I do with it? And then I came up with the idea to launch a lore advent calendar fan fiction. Unfortunately, I don't have the alpha of the background of the Gods and Goblins or of what FLUF is building. Just the public knowledge. But I thought, why not make like a project around the whole lore, and make it an NFT drop where you immediately get utility. Like instead of trying to get lots of funding and then building, we turned it around, and of course, like depending on what you're building, it's possible or it's not possible. Like for example, for crypto walkers, I think like it's a really cool way to have like your NFT, the animations, and follow along the whole process and be even able to invest into a huge endeavor upfront. In our case, we turned it around and made it like a small, we are not building a game, we're not building a world, we're not, but we want to give direct utility. And that's what we're doing. So the mint actually is live for like since 2.5 hours. What do you get when you mint? Starting on the 1st of December, every day leading up to Christmas, you will get a not only a illustration like following Snotwort the Goblin, how he tries to steal Christmas, but also an audio book divided into 5 chapters, and you can follow along Snotwort and his story in like the legend of Snotwort the Brave, and maybe I can even give you a little preview, a little teaser on how it sounds like. What do you think?
That sounds exciting.
I've also pinned it to the top as well, both of the links from Vitesia, so if anybody wants to check it out, they're up there.
Awesome, thank you so much. So I need 30 more seconds to prepare to get the audio. I thought I had it, and now I lost it.
Sam, should we talk about the World Cup in the meantime?
Yeah. What are you ranked now? Because you're like probably still top 100, huh?
Yeah, I am. I'm let's check. 26th. Not bad, right?
26. It's like I was so like doing so well like after the Spain Costa Rica thing, and then all downhill.
Oh no. I've been trying to analyze some of the people that have done well. The person that's currently in second, the name is Jekyll, Jekl, got 6,300 points for the Netherlands versus Qatar, and I'm trying to understand how the hell that's possible. That's so many points. I've determined that.
Did they do a backheel goal?
They picked the match result, and then the match event, they got 450 points for that. And then they got the first goal, a 9x multiplier. That's the math that I backed into. But I don't think it's possible to see on their profile the match event that they chose. So I'm trying to determine what match event got 450 points.
I saw somebody today score like 9,300 points in one match.
What?
And
I think it was a bug. I think that's getting fixed, but
oh really?
9,300. Holy smokes!
I think it was like a VAR thing that wasn't supposed to happen.
I saw like they had posted it, and it was like 2 goals disallowed or something, and it was like, yeah, I don't know how they did it, because even if they got, I think that was like 800 points, and then I don't know how they did it, but been seeing some crazy scores. All 1-up max, and if he's 26, I'm like 2,600. So, not doing as hot as Max for sure.
They took away my strategy that I talked about last week in our spaces, which was to always choose the substitutions one. So I did a lot of analysis last night to come up with a new strategy, but this time I'm keeping it to myself.
So thank you for the bridge to the early preview. Nobody has heard this yet of how the 1st of December will start.
Christmas was coming to a land Christmas loves, with the party bear people and the ones they call fluffs sip the peppermint chocolate from piping hot cups. And as for the snow, there was heaps of the stuff, piling in mountains and falling in puffs. But don't worry, they're furry, they don't mind the cold. It fills them with fun, they're a sight to behold. But goblins were scheming and dreaming of ways to ruin the biggest of Christmas's days. They made goblin-y plans while the fluffs all played games. They picked goblin-y noses with gross sugar canes. They dreamed up a plan, they thought up a trap. They schemed to steal Santa's most magical hat. These terrible fiends thought surely that then Christmas would certainly come to an end. It would be cancelled, kaput, completely annulled. The stockings all empty, not one of them full. So what?
Yeah, that's early preview. Don't want to spoil too much. So that's like the audiobook, and there comes an illustration with it. I can also pin the tweet where we shared the cover, and then yeah, you get most of it, like the gist of everything. And I also have brought Rothschild, who is in the audience. If he's requesting, please let him up. Who helped to work on the project, because the whole story is not AI generated. The images are not AI generated. All are hand drawn. The story written by Careful, the voice acting also done by Careful. The ones who have done like the Into the Future, or who have watched the Into the Futureverse podcast already have seen the team. And yeah, that's all handmade, and I hope you will enjoy that one. And yeah.
Hello.
Welcome.
Jim.
Hello, my name is Killian, or Rothschild, the purpose of Twitter. Yeah, it was a pleasure working with Billavines for this project, Fantasia project. I come from Olive Productions myself, which is Story as a Service Productions. And yeah, we worked together on this project. It was amazing. Very excited to be part of some of the FLUF unofficial lore. And yeah, really enjoyed working on a Christmas project as well, which is a big time in Ireland and Germany alike, and lots of places, of course, but definitely big in those northern traditions. And this bonding experience of a child and their parents and all that sort of stuff, and story times through Advent, we think is a pretty special time for kids and adults alike, but definitely for that bonding experience. So it was a very pleasant sort of a project to work on, and yeah. That was it, really. So if you have any questions regarding anything about the project itself, or the stories, or how it came about, I'm more than happy to answer a few questions too.
Yeah, I just want to chime in and say it's awesome to see some fan fiction lore, and just kind of, even though I'm on the Seekers team and have to be against the goblins, obviously, I think it's cool seeing stories pop up, and love the idea of the Advent calendar, and very good timing for it. So loved what you guys are doing.
Pufferfish has joined the stage. Hello, Pufferfish.
Hey, what's up? I must have pressed the request button by accident, but hey, what's going on, guys?
Well, what happened is you haven't been posting Puffer's top 5 in a while, so yeah.
I apologize. Not sure what happened there.
It's okay. You'll get him next time. Well, are there anyone that has any further questions on Vatizia's project?
So what are you guys using to record all the voice the voiceovers and like where are you generating most of the lore from, and kind of like how you kind of came up with the story and whatnot.
Do you want me to take that, Bellavines?
You can take it.
Sweet. So a lot of the story is written from our end, which is Olive Productions, which is the storytelling as a service that we do. And one of the main writers is called Cathal, a good friend of ours, and he did the vast majority of the recording and the story itself. Of course, in combination with Bellavine here, but that's where the majority of the story came from, yeah. And yeah, very, very nice to be writing Christmas stories, as we said, with goblins and fluffs.
And I think like we definitely, as I'm definitely a nerd about the whole lore on FLUF World. We sneaked several characters into the story, no matter if it's Seekers, or Party Bears, or Fluffs, or every not everyone, but definitely several characters have their appearance. Of course, like the core is Snotwort the Brave, who's trying to steal Christmas, and has the Fluffs then coming after him, and but yeah, we tried definitely to include several. The ones who know will spot the projects we mentioned, and actually, like, also I think you already pinned the second last tweet, which is for the final edition. So there are 3 editions. One is the so-called limited edition, like that's the free one, where Fluffs with Santa hat and Grinch fur qualify, but also the Seekers in Goblin mode and the Dark Seeker, of course. Dark Seeker gets 3 free months, so and he's also in the community actually. So we got that, and then there is a special edition where it's the mint is 0.04 ETH, and there like lots of partners qualify for that. So for example, the Crypto Walkers clown shoes, the Party Bear clown nose time has come, also the drug receipts, red hat, green hat, Eric's hat, the OX Thulu high profits. So yeah, we if you go through the thread, you will find all trades. Every trade counts. Who qualifies for that half price special edition, and the final edition, that's 0.08 ETH open edition for anyone who is interested in the project but is not a disciple in the Discord or qualifies for a trade. They can still get it. So yeah, that's 3 editions right now. Utility is the same, but we definitely have some plans for some special utility as well.
I always thought such a cool function of NFTs and use case is that not only can a project provide some type of benefit to token holders of their token, but because it's on a public blockchain, anybody making any type of product or service or project or anything can also take a look at who holds what tokens and gate access or provide services or benefits or access. So I think it's really cool that you're taking advantage of that and in such a expansive way.
Yeah, I think it's like just a great way to reward like basically all communities in the ecosystem in a small way. And yeah, I think like just like you say, that's the beauty of the blockchain. And we are already in touch like with several of the projects, so that they are aware of that, that their holders are eligible for it, and that they will reshare some of our content. And yeah, the mint is open till the 3rd December, so there is still some time. People can, the ones who own it, the unlockables. So we will have our own solution for that, or we're working with Darkblock. That's the platform, and they for the beginning we might have to forward you to their site, but you go there, you connect your wallet, you unlock the content, and then only you can actually access the illustration and the audio. And then a few days later, we will launch like our own site with the same technology, but that you can actually go to our own site and unlock it there. So yeah, that's the plan for the unlockables and how they are going to work. Pretty easy, just sign it and you have access.
Awesome. And is there a reason for someone to have more than one, or really people should just get one and enjoy the storytelling and the daily content?
You can send them to your families for Christmas.
Exactly. Like, of course, you could buy
Christmas present
one to your friends, like to make them a Christmas present. As we don't have any traits or rarity or surprise reveal or anything, I am always glad if you buy more than one, but there won't be any like additional utility. If you want to speculate and you say, okay, like after the 3rd December, the mint, when the mint will close, people will still want to get in, maybe, but it's we don't. Our approach is it's around $50 if you qualify for the special edition. And it's targeted to kids, but also to anyone who loves storytelling, who loves audiobooks. Do you get the advent calendar like with a chocolate or with stories? And we really wanted to enable this comparability where we're saying, it's $50. It's not about, we don't expect people to buy 10 and speculate on a rare golden fur, It's just direct utility, $50, and you get like this handmade story. And so it's there's no utility in getting like 100, but of course, like if you want more than one, and maybe, as I said, send a gift to your friends who might,
or you can listen
kids,
to it twice every day if you have to. Just kidding.
You could open it
that was a joke.
with 2 different wallets and see if there's a change.
Awesome. Does anyone have any questions? I've seen some people sending around links. Is that like an invite type of program?
Yeah, that's what we were running, to get some traction. I hope people didn't get spammed too much. We in the beginning we said, so we have like 2 roles you can get, or like you enter the server, the Discord, and you're an aspiring disciple. And then if you do some quests, then you become a Vatessarian disciple. And then we also have the council. And in order to get to the disciple status, we had that quest of invite a friend. Initially, we had invite 3 friends who also have to do like the first 2 quests of following and retweeting. And then we were asked like, okay, like 3 friends, like that's going to be spammy. So we were like, yeah, you're right. And we reduced it to 1, like only 1 friend has to join, and then you made it. But it seems like people were still sending out, in the hopes of that 1 signs up, like 10 invite links. So yeah, I'm sorry for anyone who got spammed a little.
Well, if anyone is looking to invite someone, I purposely didn't join the Discord yet, so that if anyone needs an invite, you can invite me, and I guess I'll accept the person at random or something if I get multiple. Don't spam me too hard, please. I guess.
Hey Max, I've got a quick question.
Yeah, go for it.
The Goblin Rumble game, which is pretty choice, you earn rewards on that. What can you do with those rewards?
Yeah, we introduced Rumble as some of you, including me, started to fall in love with it in the Blockchain server. So I thought it's a great way to have some engagement there. We're doing like these Rumbles with NFT giveaways. So if you maybe don't have like the budget currently to spare, We will probably run a few more rumbles where it's a direct NFT giveaway for the winner, who's the last man or woman standing. We also have a ranking system through like Crew3 where we give XP, where you can rank up in your disciple rank. We don't have a specific where we're saying like rank 3 means whatever, or rank 4, rank 5. We will definitely come up with something that you will enjoy. No specific reward just yet, besides the disciple rank you upgrade in the Discord.
Awesome.
And also one thing that came up like here and there, if you have qualifying assets and these are on the ledger and you don't want to connect your wallet to, so we mint through Manifold, and it is secure, but of course security comes first. Please send us, like in the Discord we have a support like ticket solution. Just come there, open a ticket, and tell us which wallet has your assets, and then we will figure out a verification process too, so not everyone can come in and be like, "Hi, that's my wallet, that's my hot wallet, please." You're not excluded only because you try to keep safety up, and it's important to you.
Awesome. Well, we're closing in on 2 hours of having this space open, so we do want to end it soon. But does anyone want to give any final comments or closing? Well, that's the same thing. I feel like nobody has had the opportunity to talk about the AMA yesterday. That was exciting, and we filled our show full of content as opposed to having a lot of space for just community banter. So if we want to have 10 minutes of that, that's optional.
I mean, I definitely have lots to say about the AMA as well. So nobody
was it a positive AMA? I thought so. What did you think?
I would agree. Yeah, overall, I think it was quite positive.
Yeah,
really... as usual, like not, revealing everything, but I think it's all about expectation and expectation management. Like, what are you going in there, with which, what do you expect, and I think maybe, I'm not sure. I cannot hear Pufferfish. I hope I didn't talk over him.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say pretty much exact same thing you said. I wish they were doing a better job of managing expectations along the way. I don't, the whole marketing thing. I know they're waiting till they have bullets to fire, but just minor things or whatever, you see how hooligans and crypto walkers do a good job of just saying, "Hey guys, look, we're working on stuff. Look, my monitor's turned on." That's all, that kind of stuff. But I think they did well. I think the statement of so much news, there's not enough time to deliver it, is effectively canceled and redacted, right? And Aaron is going to wait till the market is better for Root. So, which sounds good.
Yeah, but for me overall, I think the team has gotten consistently better, maybe slowly better, like slow improvement in terms of managing expectations. There was some real missteps, I think, in the very early part of the year around the launch of Burrows, where some big statements were made about when they were going to be ready to do certain things. Like, for example, there was an expectation set that the VR-enabled version of the Burrows was very far through testing and would be available in Q2. And now 5 months later, it's still not available, and we don't know the expected delivery date. So I do think the team has done a lot better in terms of not making, statements. A lot of people are commenting about the one tweet that Aaron tweeted a while ago that was just like a one-line tweet that said, the biggest problem that they face is having so much that they need to roll out and not having enough days to do it, or something along those lines. But I feel like it's a little bit harsh to point to a single small tweet as like a reason to be upset, I guess. But at the same time, I do understand that because that tweet was sent, the team should be following up when that they no longer expect that to be the reality. So I guess there's a lot of different ways to look at it. Overall, they have, the team that's managing the social media consistently posting, for the most part, across 10 plus accounts, and has been doing so for a very long time, with a wide variety of lore and stories and content, way more than anybody else in the space by a long stretch. Like, I think the space looks up to Yuga Labs as being the representative of the space in terms of NFT projects. And they sometimes go months without a peep. And then they post like a single picture and say, fuck it. And then everyone gets excited. And I just feel like that's such a disservice to a team like this, which is posting probably close to 50x the content of Yuga Labs, and not getting, and getting kind of slammed a little bit for things that I think are like sending one tweet and then not really following up as well as people would like on it. I think it's a little unfair.
Yeah, I think just what you mentioned, like comparing, for example, the Bored Apes. If you look at the roadmap 2.0, which was posted how long ago? Over a year, with all the Jimmy the trial, which we will probably get now. But like you say, like what have they done? Yes, they have also launched like the other side, and I'm speaking as an ape, so
I also, for the record, own a Bored Ape and a lot.
So I am in the same boat and feeling, and I'm like, can you like do something like more? So yeah, it's and then for FLUF World, I think it's just, yes, they announced stuff that is not here yet, but I think it also the partnership conversations were, I don't think like from day one they knew how big it's going to get. Like they had their vision, they're working on this for years, but with more partners coming in, there are more people like at the table, more expectations, more like different wishes, and to combine all this, I think that's a real masterpiece and masterwork of where we have seen probably only a tiny part of it, and I'm looking forward to what we're going to get.
Tybo, you jumped up, so go ahead.
Yo. Yeah, no, I think everyone's frustrations are warranted, especially when it's been an ongoing thing. It's not like a one-time thing, right? Like there's been several times where I think Aaron is the instigator here, because I don't think it's FLUF World as a them saying these things. Like it's always been Aaron like making statements of like the 3 months where we're going to have airdrop April, Mycelium May and Gods and Goblins June, you know, and then that didn't pan out. So people don't forget, you know, people like elephants, they never forget. And then Aaron says another tweet, and then things get delayed. And I don't think his intentions are to piss people off. Like, I think that's the point that I always come back to, or like, okay, what is actually going on? Like, okay, why is he not following through with what he's saying? And I just accept it. I go, well, they're still building, they're still doing great things. It's just not at the timeframes that they said. Like, and I just quickly, like, if I focus on that and get annoyed and like put all my energy on, oh, hey, they said this and they did wrong, like, that's just gonna make me feel like shit. And that's just gonna be on me at the end of the day. Like, the team is just gonna continue building. They're not gonna like know that I'm feeling crap. So like I have the choice to continue like boiling up and being upset, or I can just accept it and focus, okay, well, what are they doing right? Like, what are they actually, you know, why am I still here? What is the reason that I'm bullish on this team? And I focus on like all of the reasons why I'm so bullish on FLUF World. And it's just where everyone has, you know, their capacity and where they want to put their attention. And I just think that, you know, at the end of the day, like, it's up to us to try and manage our expectations, as we are in a very new environment with Web3 and NFTs, and it's new for them just as much as it is for us. Like, crypto as a culture is emerging in real time. And I think we as a community can help shape that culture. And that's something that I feel like, because the team is so well like established and they've got all these different tech stacks and they're building all this cool content, I feel like we take a back seat in how we want to be involved. And I would love to, you know, see more community participation. And I think one of the things that I took from NFT Ozfest was hearing about community initiatives that was created by the community for projects like Doodles, like Nouns DAO, where it wasn't relying on the team to show up and do everything and make FLUF World bullish. It's like, how can we create a culture that makes people want to be a part of the community, not necessarily a part of the vision of what Aaron's creating? Because I feel like if we do both, it's only going to benefit everyone more. So I guess that's where I'm coming from.
Yeah, a couple comments. Number one, I've been doing my best to, in these spaces, to, you know, temper expectations about timelines, because I've never found them to be believable, especially from tweets. When I see announcements from like official places like Medium articles or like the official account, that's one thing. But I feel like relying on like a comment that is made, you know, not from a place of planning, but rather from somebody talking off the cuff, that works when you have a small team. That small team knows what everyone else on the team is working and all of the different limitations that are involved in the processes. But when you have a large ship of 300 plus employees, like, not even the CEO or the founder or anybody can be across every aspect of why something might get delayed or what issue might arise at different parts of the pipeline. So if there's an official announcement, that means they've considered all those things. And if it's a off the cuff announcement where someone says, or not even an announcement, but like it's a statement that someone says on Twitter or in the heat of the moment, I just don't think that can be relied upon. And yeah, the team has, you know, not had a reputation of meeting timelines, which, you know, you can take that for what it is, but nobody in the space that is a big player has done specifically well in terms of, you know, being ahead of expectations in what they're delivering, because we're reaching breaching boundaries that have never been crossed before. We're trailblazing, and the teams that are kind of doing the leading of the way are new companies that don't have established, processes. Companies that usually are making the most progress have at least some time to establish themselves. And all these companies are brand new. I know that Nike is involved in Artifact, but it is a new, a separate branch. So, I mean, there's definitely some advantages of that. But for most of the teams here, it's just like when you are building a team and it grows big that your company is valued in the tens or hundreds of millions or even billions, like you have to have HR departments and accounting departments and you have to have all these procedures for how companies manage things that happen in business. So I just don't feel like the NFT community have really respected that enough across the board. So it takes time to set up all these different processes, and it's just not something that can happen in weeks. So I got upset when the team made these grand expectations, but they haven't really been doing that as much recently, and they've seemed to back off. And I think a lot of people are upset about that because there were expectations and they're not met. But I'm happy about it because they're resetting the expectations into reality when previously they weren't really based in reality. They were based on best case scenario hopes. So I'm pretty happy about it right now.
Yeah, and I think also the market conditions have affected the rollout of certain things, and that was what Aaron said as well. So there are multiple reasons why things happen the way that they do, and I think I can trust Aaron when he says he does things for a good reason if there ends up being a delay or they innovate in a certain way and it pivots the timeline. But what I said to him yesterday is like, I think people more care about just keeping us in the loop instead of like the when part or the finer details. And I think they took that feedback on pretty well. And for those that didn't see it yesterday, there was a podcast that was prematurely released about the Thingy update, and it was with Brooks Brown talking with Alex and David McDonald and another Alex that works with the AI. And I think it's important to realize that they actually are starting to bring out a lot more content like for us to digest. So, the monthly newsletter, like when we think about the feedback that we gave them months ago, it's not going to happen overnight, but I am seeing the feedback coming to fruition. Monthly AMAs, they're doing that podcast that's going to release apparently today. The monthly newsletter. So there is content that they're going to start bringing out so we can chew and digest it to keep us, in the loop. And I think that's something to keep in mind and hope for the best that it's consistent, which I think it will.
Yeah, I'm not convinced that it will be consistent because it hasn't been shown to be, because there have been times where they've responded with more of this and then it's faded away. So I'm yet to be convinced that it's consistent, but it doesn't preclude. I don't think that's a huge problem personally. I get why some people want more consistent communication than a monthly newsletter, but the pace that they are building, it's not a short-term thing that happens over weeks, but rather a long-term thing that happens over months and years. So the expectations of having more consistent discussions about where they are at on like more than a monthly basis kind of sets a tone that this is going to be real quick, and it's not going to be real quick. It's going to be many, many months, and even more than that, of rolling out different functionalities of the root network, of having different types of rollout of content, having, you know, the seekers and silo node and their whole project going step by step into something that is usable for the masses. It's just not going to be quick. And the ASM technology is going to start with a FIFA game, but, you know, that's still months away, right? And then after that is going to be very slowly advancing into maybe a second game eventually, or a third game, and then things that we're very excited about, such as splicing, are just very far into the future, in my opinion. And, you know, there are things that are happening right now that we can use, but every product in this whole suite is pre-release as far as I'm concerned, and will continue to be, or like it's pre-product. Like there are things you can do. Like you can switch your background, you can switch your song, you can, you know, go mining for Gen 2 brains, you can play this AFA game. There's other things that you can do. There's actually probably more things you can do than very big majority, almost every NFT project out there. But it's still a very small fraction of what the plans are for you to be able to do, which is why I say everything is pre-product. And everything will continue to be pre-product for a while. I mean, maybe there's an exception or two of maybe, you know, thingies can be considered not pre-product at some point when that art upgrades to the lucid state, which is happening at some point soon. Or, you know, maybe you can consider the FIFA characters, which will be released at some point, to not be pre-product once the game is launched. But for a majority of the products, you know, they're not going to see a significant amount of their intended use cases or intended state of use for more than 12 months, maybe more than 24 months, in my opinion. And I think people need to understand that.
And I think, like, also, so I'm completely with you. I think the same, and yes, depending on how much you have invested, you have certain, you know, different expectations, or maybe just a, you know, you want a reassurance on what's happening. And I think that's what they have definitely to improve, like the communication. But yeah, I hope we get to see like this as a frequency. But yeah, I like anyone who has ever worked on a product, especially in that field. Like I think someone shared in one of the groups, the Last of Us Part 2, that there were how many, like 2,000 people working on it for 6 years, and you know, that worlds and games and stories and high quality takes time. So I'm not saying that we have to wait 6 years, but I think also, for example, the other side from Yuga, I don't think we will get a fully playable virtual world anytime soon. Like we will have another first trip, or like in we actually have the other side.
The first trip for other side, we were. Did you attend? I attended.
Yeah.
And I was not. No one attended as a Bored Ape. We attended as clearly something that had been built previously by the company is called Improbable, but it was clearly had been built before and was not intended for Bored Apes. But we were some type of, I don't know if it was a creature or like a robot type of skin, but it was very nondescript. and it was a long time ago, and there hasn't been another visit to the other side. So I think just everyone has to have expectations based on reality, which is hard to do when the teams don't provide that information. And I feel like neither the other side team, like Yuga, nor the Futureverse team really provides, expectations on timelines. And, maybe as community members with knowledge on how long things might take for developing the different components of each, maybe need to speak up about their expectations. I don't know. Because in the absence of expectations, we've seen a lot of people that don't know what they're talking about come up with wild theories and expectations of delivery timelines and announcements that are going to like rock the world. And then when that doesn't happen, people get upset, which I find to be, I don't know, amusing, frustrating at times. I don't know, because I've never really believed any of them. But I know a lot of people do, and they set expectations based on it. So I hope that I can continue to have a voice that is more credible than people that are firing wild expectations that don't happen. And I hope that some of the people that get upset at me for like kind of being a buzzkill at times for calling things unlikely or crazy or making comments that, make people less excited. I hope, maybe people can see why I'm doing that, and maybe some people can alter their way of speaking about the future and wildly optimistic takes. I don't know.
Do you mind if I ask a question?
Yeah, of course. Go for it.
So I was wondering, I actually work predominantly in like a DeFi in my professional career. So things are a little bit different in the NFT world for sure. But one thing that I found is really, common in some DeFi protocols is for them to just ship a developer update, whatever it is, like once a week, twice a week. And even though it might be small incremental changes constantly, people are reassured by that because they can see, be like, well, okay, maybe I don't really understand these functions, but I understood what the devs have done now over the past week or 2 weeks, and they're striving towards this functionality or this initiative or what have you. And it just gives people confidence that like the momentum is going towards these initiatives, and the devs have done this work X or Y in the past week or 2 weeks. And I understand you said there's something like that it's hard to get transparency from the team sometimes because they kind of come out with these like more abstract ways of describing things as opposed to things that are slightly more concrete. So maybe that's something that could be proposed within communities, that, okay, well, even if you are going towards this, more abstract or long distance initiative or expectation, what are the steps that are needed in order to get there? And, what are the devs doing each week or each month or what have you in order to achieve that? Is that like something that people ever speak to? Or
yeah, it's definitely something that people want and something that teams push back against. And I think the reasons that the teams push back against it are a few reasons. I think the main one is they want to have the ability to adapt without having to, add in extra steps necessary to adapt. So for example, if you make an announcement about you're going to do X, and then you change your mind, you don't want to do X, you want to do Y. If you announce that you did X, then you need to spend all these resources on informing your community, we're not doing X, here's why we're not doing X, we're doing Y. And those types of events probably happen, multiple times a week. And another component is the timeline. So doing it every week or twice a week, they've said that that's just not realistic because a sprint is a 2-week period. So having, updates that are more frequent than a sprint is completely unrealistic in their opinion. And also it gives away the impression to community members that things are moving super quickly because they're having all these updates. But if you slow down the updates to once a month, then that sets a more realistic expectation upon a base based about when developments are going to occur. And I think that once a month is sufficient for me. And I know a lot of people disagree with that and they want more frequent, but that is the reason why that they don't, those are the main reasons why the team doesn't want to do it more often than once a month.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, to be fair. I mean, I agree with that point. Yeah, I guess it was just a thought. So that's my question. Thanks a minute for the answer.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for posing it. So I also want to point out that from Tybo's comment that yes, there are other communities that have lots of initiatives. And yes, I think that the FLUF World and other communities within the Futureverse should continue to do more. But I want to point out some of the people that are doing a great job at having stepping into that. So like the Futureverse podcast has Jerry has spent, I have no idea how much time, but incredible amount of time creating content. And you can check out his YouTube channel, which has dozens of videos and like hundreds of hours of video content explaining every part of the Futureverse ecosystem. The Schiller is another content creator that has a ton of content that he's been doing lately. Tybo, you've been making some content recently, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, the information has died down a bit, so I've slowed down on my community newsletter. But in general, as things pick up, I want to keep people in the loop in a way. But I was more, I agree that that's what's happening. I was more talking about like we all have fluffs, and there's this backstory lore. I can't see why we couldn't come together as a group and make a story within the FLUF world.
Is that not what Believins is and Roth Chad is doing?
Yeah, no, I'm talking about like getting
just more
a community board together and just talking about it. I'm happy that Believins doing that. It's awesome. I was more thinking about how we could do like lore sessions with a bunch of community members and start just brainstorming on like, okay, where does our fluff come from? Like, what type of community vibe does that fluff have? Like, I don't know. I just would like to see more things of that nature if people are interested in doing fun things like that. It doesn't have to be serious or anything. Just doing things together as a community.
I totally agree that we could do a lot more, and every time that I see somebody doing something like this, it excites me. I'm just pointing out all of the examples of people that do really cool stuff. For example, when they have competitions, we have some of the very best animations that I've seen in the space. So big shout out to everybody that does entries in the competitions or that makes animations outside of competitions. All the time in the Discord, you'll see people posting things and on Twitter, and I think it's really cool. Believins.
Yeah, definitely agree on that. And Tybo, that's a great comment. That's actually also like yesterday in the AMA, what I asked on like, okay, now we have like so much like contest and community content, and probably there will come more. What is like is there any plan to offer a platform, or maybe that the community can build a platform where you can get everything together? because even the official lore is distributed across like a range of discords and websites, which on one hand is maybe good to let people hunt for it, but I think at some point you just need, you know, like a platform, and then you can say, I want to know about all like party bear lore, and then you can dive in, and the whole fan fiction is, and like even another part. For the fan fiction, how did we approach this as we built out lore for goblins where we don't know much, we know something, we know hints at it. How do we build a project that is not cannibalizing or like confusing people with official lore? That's why we stress the fan fiction part, which you know, that nobody comes to the idea that we're like the official Gods and Goblins lore, and how we like the Snotwort Suits Christmas, like the name of our calendar, and the legend of Snotwort the Brave. That's I call it like meta lore, where an author inside of the world of Gods and Goblins wrote a book, wrote a novel, wrote, you know, like this legend, and Batesia has it in her archive. But this can, like, anything can happen in there, which is not the real lore what actually happened in FLUF World. So just like we have novelists in our world writing fictional stories, you know, so like another level of lore. That's how we approach it, to be able to write anything we want, fictional inside a fictional world. I could explain what I mean with that.
Yeah, I think any initiative towards building more anything is probably a good thing to do and a good thing to support. I do think that as a community we have lots of different people that are doing really cool things. Could there be more? Yes, I hope there will be more, and I hope somebody listening to this conversation finds this, you know, to be an opportunity to do something. And I think a lot of us will get behind anything that we think is cool or interesting or fun. It has been almost 2.5 hours though, so I do think it's time to end the space. So I'll just wrap it up here. Thanks to everybody that came. Thanks to our guests today and anyone that listened or participated. We'll be back next week we plan to be back at our normal time. If that isn't the case, we'll send an update, but our usual time of 7 p.m. Eastern time next week. And as per usual, you can find the recording for this Spaces on my Twitter account. Good luck to everybody in the World Cup game. And if anybody has an idea on how I can improve, send it over. And we'll see you next week or in the Discord. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for hosting.
Thanks very much for watching. If you enjoy this content, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and maybe consider watching one of my other videos. Bunnies up!